Blog Talk Radio.
Archangels, ghosts, and Bigfoot, oh my. It's just another night for Supernatural Girls. Real stories, real answers to life's biggest supernatural mysteries. And now for another exciting interview with paranormal experts from this world and others. Here's your host, paranormal researcher Patricia Baker, on the one, the only Supernatural Girls.
Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of Supernatural Girls Radio. I'm your host, Patricia Baker, and I am here by myself without Michelle, who has COVID. Oh, God bless her. She is not feeling well at all, and so she's home. She would benefit from this cord magic we're going to be talking about tonight. So I hope she's listening so she can use the cord magic for health. And PK is also at home with some back issues as usual. And anyways, both of these ladies I know are going to be listening to the show and hopefully able to benefit from all of what our guest is going to share tonight. So we're going to get into it with our wonderful guest, Brandy Williams, in just a few minutes. I want to make sure that you've gone to our Facebook page. Give us a follow there, and you will be right on top of it in terms of the next shows that are coming up. We've got some real blockbusters. Next week, we have somebody coming on who is going to talk about psilocybin and how it is being successfully used for mental illness, especially depression. I've heard from a number of people of how this is so effective. And this is giving people a lot of options. Now, it's not yet legal everywhere, but it is legal in several states, and there is a big push to make it legal all across the United States, which I think is great. It's about time so that people can get help and not suffer anymore with anxiety or depression or whatever it is. So we're going to hear from this gentleman next week, and he will explain the science behind it. He will explain the laws and also how it's being used in these areas where it's legal and the great results that people are getting. Now, there's another substance that is also being used that is legal for this, and it's called ketamine. And we're going to have somebody come on probably in the next 2 months to talk about that and how it is different from psilocybin, but also treats anxiety, depression, all those fun things that nobody wants to have anymore. So I'm going to do my best to bring you the best of the best, and you can learn from our guests and see if anything is of interest to you, or if you have friends or family who are suffering with some form of mental illness that may want to look into this for themselves. So it's great to hear that minds are opening, literally, to use these types of substances for the betterment of everybody's mental health. So great stuff coming up. William Stickevers is coming back. He's going to be talking about the hostile alien race that President Reagan, was briefed about. We're going to be talking about that and see if he has anything to say in his predictions about CERN, because we know that started up again. And William's astrological predictions are always right on the money, so we got to check with him on that and anything else he sees coming down the pike ready to slap us in the head. So we want to know everything William knows so we can be prepared. So anyways, we've got some great UFO stories on our Facebook page. Take a look there. Apparently, more and more people just keep reporting them and sending the videos worldwide, so take a look there. So our guest tonight has written a new book, and it's a great book. I enjoyed reading it so much. It is called Cord Magic, Tapping into the Power of String, Yarn, Twists, and Knots. Now, Brandy Williams, our guest, is a Wiccan high priestess, a pagan magician, and a tantric yogini. Her magical motto is insight through love. You can find her on the web at brandywilliamsauthor.com. And she's with us right now, so let me bring her on. Brandy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, it's great to have you here. I mean, you're obviously so experienced at so many things, but cord magic is it's so unique and yet so ancient. But we've never had anybody talk about this on the show. So how did you get involved with writing this book?
Well, it's something that I've been thinking about writing for a number of years. When I first became a witch, my friends and I experimented with cord magic, and we developed ways to do it, and then developed ways to teach it, and we'd go do it with friends and workshops and in festivals. And it's just something that's always been in my life. And as I've been sort of writing the books that I wanted to write, I said, I've never gotten around to writing the cord magic book. Let's go do that. And I'm so thrilled at the way it's been received. I mean, people really take to this because it's so easy to do. So I'm very, very happy with how it came out and how it's being received.
I really enjoyed it, and I know other people are going to enjoy it too. And tell us a little bit about how you made the choice to become a witch. Is this something that ran in your family from your grandmother on down, or is this just something you felt was your path?
No, my family raised me Catholic, but I'm a third-generation American. They came from the Czech Republic. And so I always had this strain of supernatural mysticism in the family, but the religion itself or the practices themselves were really more in the sort of mystical Christianity kind of way. But I really knew that wasn't my path. So when I was young, I read books, and when I was 16, I found Sybil Leek's book, The Complete Art of Witchcraft, and I said, oh, that's my path. And I have been on that path ever since.
That's wonderful. Well, it's good that you found it so young, too. And you can pursue it like
yeah,
that.
And I'm not young anymore. So it's really, you said, I'm so experienced. I'm like, yes, that means old.
So
I'm turning 66 in August. So
congratulations.
Oh my gosh, wait, that's 50, I can say 50 years. I've been a witch for 50 years.
That's fantastic. That's cause for celebration to your anniversary. That's wonderful. Yeah. So give us some introduction to this, because it is easy, but yet there are so many uses for this, and that's what I was impressed with. You can use it for just about anything. So take us through the process. How do we use this magic? How does it work?
It's a very simple magical technology to use. The key is to first think about what you want to do and make one sentence that's that thing. And that's probably the hardest thing to do in all of magic, to figure out exactly what you want to happen, and make it specific enough that it can happen, but not too specific. You don't want to say, I'm going to get a job next Thursday at 3:00. You say, I want a new job, and it gives me the money that I need to make. It's on the bus line so I can get to and from work, that kind of thing. So you need to know how to specify the things that you want, but just one line. And I have to say, in cord magic, I generated a whole bunch of those. So if you're stuck, you can go look at the book, and it will at least give you some ideas of where to go. So that's the first thing. Make a sentence. What is it you want to do? And then the second thing is just think about what the correspondences are that you want to use. So what cord magic does is it uses fiber, which is string essentially, and then it uses color and number. We assign meanings to color and number, and then we use that to power the magic. So that's really all you have to do. You have one sentence, and then you have some string. So I'm going to do a working for protection, and I want to maybe think about it as being kind of a marshal. It's like of Mars. I want the warrior to protect me. And Mars, the number associated with Mars is 5, so I go get some string. Mars is the red planet, so I get 3 different kinds of red, or maybe I get a little bit of orange. I do 5 strands of a red and orange nature, and then I put those together to make my protection cord. Well, I say over the cord, I am protected. I am protected as I walk out of the house. I am protected wherever I go. And so that's it. That's the whole methodology for this magic.
And then when you have this string, it's then what do you do with it? Do you put it somewhere? Do you wear it? What do you do with it?
I mean, that's the great thing. That's the great thing about a cord too. People actually make the cords like this using the exact technique. Jewelers will make it to sell with their pendants. And you can find YouTube videos where people teach you how to make the cords. There's a trick to making a twist so that the cord is generated. And they'll teach that. So you can wear it on yourself. You can wear it as part of a necklace. You can put it around your wrist. You can put it in your pocket. Or you can put it on something. You can put it on your wall as a protection. You can put it on your luggage. That's one of my favorite things to do because then it ties the luggage to me. Wherever the luggage journeys, it comes back to me. And it also gives you something to
you never lose your luggage.
Your
then.
black suitcase. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I really like it. Yeah. So it's a very portable. It's small. And another great thing about cord magic, about making a cord, is that people wear them all the time. So you see people wearing things around their wrists, and it's sort of stealth magic. It doesn't scream like, I am doing a magic thing. It's like, oh, cool, what a cool cord, So wear it,
right.
Put it somewhere, hang it on something.
Yeah, because I heard, I think, with fairy magic, when we had someone on the show, that they use string also, or a leather cord or something, because they could be put in prison for their relationship with fairies and things way back when. So they used string, and that didn't tip anybody off. So it kept them safe, and they could have their relationship with the fairy folk.
Yeah.
So I thought
that's exactly
was amazing. Yeah, because, again, so many people were persecuted for having these beliefs and living their true path, and so they had to find ways to hide it, but yet still be able to practice.
Oh, yeah, that's it. I'm old enough to remember when people were risking losing their jobs or losing their children because they were witches. And it's much less common today. We've done a lot of work in the witchcraft community to advocate for freedom of religion, and I don't hear those stories anymore. But it was a really big deal when I first became a witch. It was very scary to say that you were a witch. There are parts of the country today that still would persecute someone who was that open. So it's helpful to have magic that you can do out in public that kind of flies under the radar.
Exactly. That's such a great thing about this technique, that you can use it openly. Nobody even knows what you're doing. Like, they may think you're like Madonna with your Kabbalah string or whatever, but they won't necessarily liken it to anything else. So that's good. That's excellent. Now, you gave a wonderful story in the opening of your book. Would you mind sharing that about your friend whose daughter wasn't home? She was expected home, but she didn't make it home, which is very scary for any parent. And you used the cord magic to help her. That's a great story.
Yes. Yeah, and it's one of those things. I mean, you get a call from a friend, and I knew her and I knew her daughter, and she said, my daughter's not home. I'm like, oh wow, this is where the pedal hits the metal when you're helping other people, right? What can I do to help bring her home, right? And so I'm kind of like, you have cord magic for this exact thing. So I go, so what's your favorite color? She said blue, and I said, okay, what's Kathy's favorite color? And she said pink. And then, so I just grabbed, I have this huge bag of embroidery floss, and possibly I have a chest full of yarn as well. So I can pull together colors. So I myself added, so I had one color for Kathy, one color for her mom, and then I had one color for me, and it was yellow for optimism and hope that this would all work out. So I twisted them together, and I said, okay, and I told her, imagine a cord between yourself and your daughter. Now imagine yourself pulling it. And so she did. And then, we hung up, and I said, call me the second she gets home. And so very shortly after that, her daughter came home, and it was fine. She had just been wandering around, and she wasn't like young, She was 16, like a teenager, but she wasn't. She was a little bit developmentally, impaired. So it was a little bit, a challenge. There's a good word. And so, we worried about her, but she came home and so when I saw her again, I gave her the cord and said, here, the next time your mom needs you, you can grab this cord. And I told her mom, the next time you need Kathy, you can imagine her with that cord. But it was a keep her safe cord also, because of course with a girl lost, I mean, there's so many things that happen. It was a terrifying moment. Yes. So I was so happy that she got home okay. And it was wonderful. It was such a good feeling, because when people call you and they go, my daughter's missing, you're like, what can I do? Right. And this gave me something to do. It gave me something immediate that helped me. It helped her. And it focused us on what we could do and the positive outcome and a way to make that tangible. So that was why I started the book with it, because it's pretty dramatic story.
It is. It's just a heartwarming story. And now a lot of pets go missing. Can you do the same thing with a pet that's gone missing?
Oh, I would. If I had a pet missing, I would totally do it. In fact, there's a Japanese shrine, a Shinto shrine in Washington State that makes little talismans. They're called omamori, and they make little talismans for pets. My pets will not wear collars. I can't put them on them.
Yeah.
But what I do is I make a cord, and I put the talisman on the cord for each of them individually, and I renew this like once a year, and then I offer it to Bast and say, Bast, keep my kitties safe. That's good. I should write that up, actually, because I don't think I've told that story anywhere else.
Yeah, no, definitely, because I know I've over the years so many people whose cats have gone missing, or dogs, or donkeys, horses, whatever, and it just seemed like this would also be an appropriate cord magic technique to use with any of them.
Yes, that's right. And then when your kitties do eventually pass, you can bury them with the cord, or you can cremate them with the cord. I've lived long enough that I've lost kitties as well, and it's a way to it's a way to do that. And also with one of my kitties, I made a cord that represented her. I lost her recently, and I made a cord that represented her. And when they cremate pets, they give you little necklaces, a little thing you can put some of their ashes in, and so I put her ashes in that and put it on the cord.
So, wonderful!
Yeah, and I know they do that for people too.
It is so hard losing pets. I mean, when they have to pass to the other side, so difficult. But I mean, if somebody's gone missing, this is a wonderful technique to do. Now, let me just specify this. So somebody calls, their daughter's missing or son is missing, whatever, then you can pull these strings together based on colors that they like, and you can keep pulling the string closer to you, right? That's what you talked about in the book? So you actually were doing this, and then you just asked the mom to imagine she was doing this, right?
That's right. Yeah. So and it's kind of interesting. The whole metaphor of tying stuff together or connecting stuff, the cord makes that tangible. And I used the physical cord to power that spell. It was a spell that we were doing together, right? But you can also do that. I've done this with people that I need to stay connected with. I make a cord and cut it in two. I give them one piece and me one piece, and then we're always connected. That's sort of a hand fasting cord is like a single thing. I was going to say it's kind of like a hand fasting cord, but it's not. But that's a way to keep connected with people, and it's also a way to make a tangible connection that it's difficult to do physically. Like that exact example where there's somebody who's not in my physical presence, but I want to connect her to her mom. It makes that wish tangible. I've had a friend who was dying, right? So we made a cord, and we made it physically, and we also made it metaphorically. And we actually he had cancer, and we wanted to bring him back, right? So we made a cord, and basically imagined him holding one end, and we pulled on the other end, and we got him. His first bout with cancer he was able to overcome it. And of course, we were one of many people who were doing that magic with him, and he had lots of medicine on his side, but still, it was something that let us do something, and it worked. So we as my coven, he was our coven mate, right? Our coven had the cord and used it to pull him back out of the underworld. And then when he had relapse and we knew he was going to go, we paid out and then we let it go and allowed him to go. So again, it makes that sort of tangible connection with something that's difficult to make tangible.
Yeah, and again, it was a wonderful way to end the book, to read that story. Again, very heartfelt connection. Now, somebody just sent me a text and wanted to know, what if there is a business connection you want to make with somebody that you find very difficult to meet because they're whatever high up on the ladder or whatever? Is there a way to use cord magic to create an introduction?
In general, I wouldn't target a specific person with any magic just because what you really want is the outcome and not the person themselves. It might be that the person that you're thinking about is not quite the right person. It's somebody who they report to, somebody next to them, somebody higher up. But you can totally make a cord to have a specific outcome, have a business outcome. And that's something I did before I retired. I did a ton of cord magic around my teams, around my managers. And so what I would do is the general affirmations, my management team supports me. I have the introductions I need. I think that's the way to put it. I get the introductions that I need. And then you decide what the correspondences are. What I do with cord magic is I have example correspondences for number and color, and then I also have worksheets that let you fill out what your ideas are about what colors mean to you and what numbers mean to you. So you can either use mine off the shelf or you can build it yourself. So you decide, how many threads you're going to put in the string and then what color they are, and then you can twist it saying that affirmation. Then since it's business related, you might take it to work. You might, if you've got a briefcase, you can put it in the briefcase or put it in your purse or satchel or your pocket. And then, every once in a while, touch the cord and give yourself that affirmation. I have the introductions that I need. And I want to tell you how old this magic is. The Babylonians were doing this exact thing. They would wear these cloaks, and they would have fringes on the cloaks, and they'd go into a court, and they would tie a knot in the fringe and say, my court case is going to be successful. So this is thousands of years old, this kind of magic.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, didn't you say that they found some thread or some string, and it was 90,000 years old, something crazy like that?
Isn't that amazing? I mean, it's a very special circumstance. It's basically in mud. I mean, you could put stuff in mud and it is preserved. But my heart beats faster at that sort of thing. It's so geeky. But I just love that we have things that are so ancient and we can tell things about them. We know what kind of thread it was, and because of the other things that were found with that particular thing, the other things that were found in the cave, we know what kinds of colors they were using too. I mean, it really is extraordinary.
That is. But, to have something that ancient, but something so portable and easy to use in contemporary times, it's incredible. Now, prosperity is a big thing for people today, especially with the economy tanking and prices going up. Inflation is here. So what kinds of things would you suggest people do for prosperity with cord magic?
And that's another really good question about what it is that you want for prosperity. I've done over my life lots of very specific things and then lots of general things. I'll sit down once a year and review my 5-year plan. What do I want to have happen for me in the next 5 years? One of the plans we did, my family, the three of us who lived together sat down and said, what do we want? We said, okay, we want a house. And our retirement plan is we're going to buy a house and we're going to pay it off. And so we did. We did magic all along the process. The first magic is we find the real estate agent and we find the mortgage broker. And so that happens. And then we find the house that we want. And that then occurs. And then we say, okay, we can continue to make the mortgage payments. We do not buy any of the strange mortgages like the balloon payment mortgages that they try to sell us on.
Right.
To get a reasonable mortgage. that was really important. There was a moment in time where people were trying to get you to sign on to these like crazy mortgages. Well, no, we're not going to do that.
Right.
And then we do magics for let's keep our job. Right. So through this entire process, I have a job that can pay for the house. I make my payments on time. The bank stays solvent. I actually had a bank. I was a it was Washington Mutual. I was a Washington Mutual customer, and I actually worked for a company and was that consulted with them. And one day, I said, "Hey, where's everybody? Where's everybody who's supposed to come to my meeting?" And they go, "Oh, we're all taking our money out of the bank because it's closing down." I went, "What?"
Oh no!
That's my bank, right? So. Your money stays safe. That's a good intention to put into this stack.
Especially now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you definitely want to put that one out there. Yeah.
Yes. All along, of course, I'm doing all of the real world things that make this happen. So I have the job. I am making the mortgage payment. I'm making sure that I can cover the mortgage payment. I'm keeping track of the fact that I need to put my money in a bank that is covered by the federal insurance, right? And that the amount that I have in the bank is covered. So all the way through. And then right down to, okay, that was my last payment. Now we own the house. And so I have this
congratulations
set of, I know, right. But that was like a series of steps that brought you to a specific kind of prosperity, which is, okay, I now own a house and that's where I can retire. And then there are all the things around. Now, it doesn't mean that you never put money into the house again. So the next set of things is the house stays safe. I have the money to pay the taxes on the house. I have the money to do the maintenance on the house. So those are all the prosperity things there. So when you say prosperity, it's like a really big subject, but what you do is chunk it down, right? Like what's the specific thing? Right down to, there are times in my life that I was like, I need $300 right now take my kitty to the vet, and I do a cord for that. Yep.
So how would you do a cord for that? You would just pick a color that you feel is appropriate with your cat, and then something for signifying money coming in, like the dark green.
Yes.
You like that? Okay.
That's right. And so, what color is the kitty? And maybe you've got kitties. You've got kitty hair. You can put the kitty's hair kind of twisted into the cord as well.
Oh.
And then you have something that is actually that's good for all pets, right? You can twist hair into the cord. That's good for people too. If you're doing magic for people and they're and they are willing to give you a hair for that, then you can put that into the cord too.
Interesting. Huh. That must be very powerful when you add that.
Right? Yeah. You can do that with your own, actually, too, if you want to. I use hair as offerings out in the world when I'm picking up things in the forest. I'll leave hair. I don't take stuff. I ask the land, or I ask the tree, can I have this branch that fell on the ground, and then I give it hair for that. A little off cord magic, but things witches do.
Well, hair is a bit like a cord, too, in its own way. So, yes. That's fascinating.
Yes, that's true.
Now, what about health? So let's say you do have to take your cat or dog to the vet, and they're not feeling well. What kind of cord magic would you use for health? Or recovery, or
you were the pet
healing?
That wasn't yeah, it's a really big issue, right? There's so many health challenges that you can have. So actually, the Shinto shrine that I was mentioning has an interesting way of looking at it. They give you a talisman for recovering health, and they give you a talisman for keeping your health. So you can have a perfectly, you can be perfectly healthy, but it's not a bad idea to always have some kind of way that you're attracting or supporting your own health. I personally associate health with green. That's just the way it is. But other people have other colors that you might associate with health.
Right. And I'm not saying that you do that in place of taking your animal to the vet, certainly, but there is all the support that you can get in the magical world. Why not use it?
Yes. Magic is always an and. this and. So you take the cat to the vet and you do the cord,
right.
You do the magic, and so it's not a substitute for real world stuff, but also it sort of lets you nudge the universe in the direction that you want it to go in. You're increasing the odds the thing you actually want to happen will happen. Just the exercise, the clarity of sitting down and making a sentence that says what you want is already pointing you in the direction of having that thing happen. You don't have this vague idea that you want to, have a prosperous life. You're like, no, I need a house to retire into, right? So that gives you it helps you formulate your goals.
Yeah, and so you like doing the specific statements. You find that works really well?
I do in a sense, right? So you don't want to get, like I said, too specific. Like I am getting a house on this street, and it costs this much money. That's too specific. I would say I'm making a cord to have a house, and it's within my budget, and it's somewhere that's a really great place for me to live. So you can be general in that sense. Getting too specific, then it doesn't give the universe. I know it sounds kind of wafty, but it doesn't give the universe enough scope. You get too specific in the universe, like, no, I can't fill that order. But you go like, I need a house. Okay, we can give you a house. Okay, I didn't specify. I meant a house that was big enough for me to live in, So over time you get to, as you're making these affirmations, you figure out what works, right? You got me a house, but it's a dollhouse. Excellent.
Right.
That was.
So you do want to qualify some of these statements, absolutely. And I just want to go back to animals again, because I heard this horrible. I read this horrible story today that happened to a woman who owns a dog and brought the dog in for treatment for an ear infection, and they gave her dog ear infection medicine, and it blinded him. Oh. Now, of course, that is so, to me, that is so bad. I mean, I'm like, they should just rip that medicine right off the, it shouldn't be available. It should not be available, anything that can cause that kind of damage. So, one of the things I'm wondering about is if you need to take your pet to the vet for medical treatment, do the cord magic for protection.
Yeah.
So that your animal is protected.
It's not a bad idea. Yeah.
I mean, I'm so upset by this. I just read it like a few hours ago, and it really bothers me that this happened. It never should have happened. And, of course, the company that makes it is saying, we don't know why this happened. Well, they should know. It's their medicine. But, again, protecting
only
our
1% of the dogs will, Yeah.
Yeah, right. I think that's 1% too much. But I think it is an important consideration. It's just like when we go to the doctor. We can't expect that doctor is going to be the one who heals us. Oftentimes it's the opposite. So I think cord magic for protection should be used when anybody has to go to the vet, to the doctor, to the dentist, whatever, so that we bring our protection with us. Just my suggestion.
Yeah, no, that's not, and it's why one of the reasons I actually don't read a lot of news. I read news to keep up, but I've stopped drilling down into those stories because it would upset me so much. There are so many horrible things that happen to animals. It's just so sad. And it's hard too. Like, my cat was not supposed to be out today, right? I'm like watching her walk across the yard. I'm like, who let you out? Let's get you back inside. And I looked at her and said, "You are a hostage to fortune." It's like you love a little creature like that, and they go wander off in the world, and anything can happen to them. So it's important to pay attention to protection on all levels. Like, let's get you back inside.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is protection on all levels, and I think that's a really great affirmation when you do your cord magic for protection on all levels. Could be protection from the vet. It could be protection from the medicine. It could be protection from other animals in the space, whatever. But I think that's a great one just to do as, generally for your pets and yourself. That's a good one. Yes. Now, we're talking a little bit off the air that I know PK and I were talking about this, and I mentioned it to you, that we have some friends, we have several friends who are going through some breakups that are not amicable, and it's very, very challenging. Now, how do you use cord magic for something like that?
And it's something that comes up a lot, and cord magic is a great place to take that. So you, again, make a cord, and you can make the cord with a color for you, a color for the other person, a color for the relationship, and other things, color for other people who are involved, the time of year. So just make the cord, and then that gives you something you can cut. So you can ritualize that as much as you want, as I cut this cord, so this relationship is cut. Now, how do you want that relationship to end? Do you want, and what do you want out of that ending? Would you like to just not have that person in your life? Would you like to have an amicable ending so you can at some point pick up a friendship? So those are important things to think through in the ending of the relationship as well. But the great thing about the cord is it gives you a way to make that, again, it gives you a way to make that tangible. There's a trick to cords. I've been talking about separating cords, right? So when you make a cord, you can make 2 knots and then cut between them. Now that one cord has become 2. In this case, you make the cord and you just cut it, and you haven't knotted it, so it unravels. Then take that cord and do something with it. Like, don't just go, and throw it in your desk drawer. You want to recycle that in some ritual way. You can put it in the Goodwill bag ritually, like this moves off into the world, or you can put it, bury it in your backyard, throw it into running water. I know I don't normally advocate, littering the environment, but in the case of cords, they're pretty small and they also do degrade. So
right,
that's a way to move them out of your, or burn them. But burning is a cord actually gives a lot of smoke and it's kind of acrid. So probably earth or water are better choices.
Right. Now, what if you wanted to stop that person from being nasty, because a lot of these endings are pretty horrible, and one person wants to go after the other with tremendous vengeance. So what would you recommend for something like that?
Yeah, so that's a different thing than taking them out of your life. That's more of a binding, where you're saying, I don't want this person's effect to affect my life anymore. And so in that case, you make the cord and you actually put a knot in it to close up that action that they're taking against you. So I knot this cord, and as I knot this cord, so this person can no longer act against me. You can take that cord and take a picture of the person and wrap it around that picture, or something that represents that person for you. Then put it in a container so it's not like leaking energy in your space, like a film canister, medicine canister, or I don't know, cheap plastic pencil case. You can put in a pencil case, put a note in it, what it is. So 3 years later, you pick this thing up, you're like, what is this thing? You have no memory of having made that, right? So put a note in it, put the date, put what the intent of that ritual was. And then you can decide to, has it manifested? Have you been able to bind that person? Are they out of your life? Then you can begin to unravel that and move on, right? Another thing, somebody gave me this. You can take something like that and stick it in the freezer. So now you've got an object that represents the person to yourself. The cord, you've got the knot. You put it in the freezer and it's frozen. They're not doing that stuff anymore. I will tell you that I have done this exact thing. I had, in my youth, I had a person who was just really not leaving me alone, and this definitely got them off my back. It was very, very handy to know about.
How long did it take to take effect?
It was instant. I mean, the minute I did it, it was actually a group of us went into this, and it was boom. Yeah, that person was no longer acting against me. Now I did my share. I disengaged. I cut that person off. I was not any longer playing into the drama. I didn't let my friends play into the drama either. None of us are talking about this person or thinking about this person. We're moving on with our lives, and that person just moved on with his life. It was really a blessing. It was such a relief. When you're under that kind of strain where somebody's really like coming for you, it's a whole lot of your energy, right? Then you have magic to do around releasing your stress, right? How are you going to release your stress?
Yes. Yeah. Because it is very stressful. It can get pretty horrible, especially when there's material possessions involved and things need to be divided up, and it can get really, really messy. So
it can.
Let's take that one also, because that's a big deal in a divorce situation or a breakup when there's assets that are on the table and either one person doesn't want to be fair or both of them don't. So what do you do with that?
Yeah, that's a really good thing to put in your intentions, right? So as you're making the separation, you can lay that as part of your intention. I separate my life from this person, and we divide our possessions in a way that's amicable for both of us, or that is equitable. The word I want is equitable for both of us, right? So that's a good thing to put into the intention. And you might put that in a chord that you're not cutting. You're like, you're making a chord. It's like this chord represents my separation from this person. My separation from this person begins on this date, right now. It's today, and we separate our possessions. We move on in our lives. Both of us find a place to go that is happy and healthy for us. Again, put that on a card, stick it somewhere, put it in a plastic bag, put it somewhere, and come back to it. Give yourself a tickler. Make a note like, a year from now, I'm going to go look at this and see, is this magic still a magic that I want to be doing? Is the separation final? Then when the separation is final, you can, again, close that spell out and move on to something else.
Right. Now, I was told, and tell me if this is true or not, that if you burn something, it kind of releases the energy into the air. You don't necessarily want it released into the air. Is that true?
Well, yeah. I think that's exactly true, right? If you don't want the energy released, you don't want to burn it, unless the energy is an ending, right? So this energy is the energy of the ending of this relationship. I release it, and so that's when burning is okay. Like I said, cords are hard to burn, right? Because they make a lot of smoke. Even little bitty cords. Okay. It's not like a paper. If you're gonna do a spell like that, put on flash paper. Get a little piece of flash paper and write the intention on flash paper, and then it goes up in a second, which is actually a really fun way to do wishes off of cord magic, mind you. But it's a great technique to know about. Like, I will have a great year for my birthday, and set off the flash paper.
And what is flash paper? I've never heard of this, Brandy.
I bet if we put it in our search engine, we would find it. It's a magician's trick, essentially. It's paper that you light, and then and they're small squares. It's not like a lot of material, but they're small squares, and you just light it, and it goes poof. It flashes.
Oh,
just
cool.
Like its name.
Why did I not know about this?
It's
all right. Thing. Yeah, so you would put a wish on that.
More witches.
Yeah, I do indeed. So anyway, so you use the square, you put your intention on it, you light it, and poof, it goes out into the air, and it's fulfilled.
Yeah, that's right. I know people who've used it at parties. I just put flash paper. Oh, yeah, you can get it from your favorite person. I try to shop from Etsy, so I bet you can find somebody on Etsy who will sell you flash paper.
Oh, okay. Cool. I'm going to look for that. That just sounds like a blast. So, and all of this, I know sometimes people are dealing with certainly very challenging issues, but this is a light way of handling it, which I like, instead of the heavy-duty ceremony, which I know has its place, too, and has its reasons. But, again, this being so easy, you can do it in the moment, you can do it when you get up in the morning, when you go to bed at night, you don't have to wear a special outfit for it. So you don't have to prepare the room. You know what I mean? It's this is just simple. This is why I love it so much, because I'm basically lazy. So this is good.
Look, I'm in the get it done school of magic. I mean, I have done really elaborate ceremonial rituals that took a day to set up the temple and 3 hours to do the ritual, right? So I've done that end, but I have to say, if you can just like be wearing the clothes you're wearing, walk into your office or your bedroom and grab something and do the magic and it gets it done, that's where my heart is. Let's get done.
Oh, I'm with you.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, can you share some stories of people that you've worked with that have had things happen from using cord magic?
That I can talk about. Let me think.
Yeah, you have to use their names, obviously.
Sure. But. No, I was just pulling up my list of things that I have done with people, and one of the things that I really like to do with cord magic is to make a cord and tie it onto wheelchairs, because, again, you've got somebody you love who is in a wheelchair, so that means that they're going through stuff, right? So my partner's mother was in a wheelchair for a while, and then she recovered. She was able to get up and move around again. But while she was in the wheelchair, we made a cord for her recovery of health and to keep her safe. The reason she was in a wheelchair was that she was older and she had fallen, and she needed to recover from that. So that's a very handy thing to a very important impact to have on someone.
Yes, and so you would just, again, put your intention there that this person regains their health. You pick the color, and then you tie it to their wheelchair or their hospital bed or whatever. So something like that.
Oh, and think about hospitals, too.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, hospitals, if you've done any healing work or any support work in hospitals, they're very challenging environments to do magic in, because you can't have candles, you can't have incense, you really can't have a whole lot of gear because it interferes with what they're doing. So a cord is a really easy way to bring magic into the hospital environment and get something going. That's you can put it on the head of the bed, you can put it on the person, you can put it on their bedside table. And people kind of they look at it as a decoration, or they look at it as a goodwill thing, like friendship cord. They don't really see it as magic, right? So it's something that they can accept. Where you go into a hospital and you want to do a full-on Wiccan ritual, they may not,
they might not like that.
Depends on where you are.
Yeah, right, exactly. But health, it's such a personal journey, and so many people today are struggling with chronic illness, whether it's autoimmune disease, heart conditions, diabetes, whatever. It just seems that even though there's more medication than we've ever had in the history of the world, we are getting sicker, not healthier. And
I can
crazy,
rant.
isn't it?
I can really rant. My husband is in a wheelchair, and we are fortunate enough that we have a van. I can put him in, and I can take him places. There are so many people in this country who are in wheelchairs who cannot leave their house. So I will stop. But I really believe
keep going.
that every person. Oh, you want me to rant? Because I really believe that it's important for all of us to take care of each other. The most important thing we can do as human beings is to support each other. So if what we're doing in our lives doesn't, it isn't getting us to that end, then, we're not going on the right path. Every person deserves health care. Every person deserves to have a place to live that's safe. Every person who is disabled deserves to be able to get out of the house, to just get out into nature. And that's something that we haven't prioritized in this culture, and I really think it's important.
I think so, too, because it's part of the healing. Yeah, it's part of our healing is to be in touch with the earth. They've done a lot of work on earthing, they call it, grounding. I mean, they find that it has such amazing benefits, but you're right. People who are physically challenged can't necessarily get out. So, it is something that we really should think about and how we can help other people in our families or communities that need that. But, certainly our healthcare system is failing chronically ill patients. Emergency medicine, I've always said, in this country is pretty darn good, but the ongoing, chronic stuff is just not good. There's not good treatment for anybody in this country. So, and the cord magic, I think, helps to bring a good intention to maybe attract the right kinds of therapies, the right kinds of approaches that might make a difference that aren't necessarily traditional.
Yeah, I was just saying, thank you for bringing it back to cord magic, because I was like, Brandy, you need to bring it back. I was just thinking, too, that if you've got somebody who's housebound and they're not able to get out into nature, you can go yourself to someplace, Island Lake Park down the road, where there's a beautiful lake and there are trees and it's all green and there are ducks. And so I can go there and make a cord that pulls all of those energies in. I can get the green of the trees and the blue of the lake and the brown of the ducks. I make a cord and take a picture and then bring it back to my husband and say, here, honey, here's a cord from Island Lake. I bring you the energy of this beautiful moment in nature, and show him the picture. And so you can bring that energy to someone who's not able to go themselves. So that's another way you could work it, too.
That's a great idea. Great idea, yeah. And there are other therapies out there that are not traditional, but that are working. I mean, I'm doing medical research quite frequently, and I often come across new treatments or off-label medication that actually works for something else, and it's remarkable. But I do think that people are intuitively led to those places, and I think cord magic can play a big role in that, bringing people to the right therapy for them or the right method of healing, the one that's going to have the most impact on good health. So that would be fun to try.
Yeah, so the intention is I have the therapies I need, I get the information that I need, I have the support I need from the medical caregivers, I have the support I need from my home caregivers. I'm living this right now, so I've got a lot of specificity there.
Yeah, which is great. Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, that's wonderful. So, yeah, there's so many creative ways to use this for healing. And boy, do we need healing right now. So, yes, that's good. Yeah. Now, you did mention it's best not to think of a specific person that you want to draw into your circle, whether it's for business or love or anything like that. It's better to keep it more general. So let's move on to love cord magic, because that's another big thing for people. How do you use it for that?
Yeah. And so and I want to tell you, it's not like I haven't personally been tempted. This person is in my life and stays in my life, but it's just not ethical magic. So you say, I have the person that I need to support me emotionally. I have the person that, that I need in my life. That's kind of the place to go. And so there are lots of things like, it's not just love, but friendship. Everyone needs people in our life. And these days it's harder to meet people and to establish friendships because we're all being a little bit more isolated from each other. So it's actually becoming really important to have a way to make those connections. And cords are a way to do that. They attract the person and then keep the person and keep the relationship healthy. So relationships have a story arc, and I have a story arc of like 2 years. If my friendship lasts longer than 2 years, it's probably going to be one that keeps, that I can keep. So, all right, I attract the person. I attract my friend. We support each other mutually. This relationship lasts for for a while, right? Does this relationship last as long as I need this kind of support in my life? Yep.
Yes, that's good. Now, I've heard people use the affirmation. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Well, I've heard people use the affirmation, this person or someone better. Now, is that okay to do or not?
Well,
it's kind of on the line there, Brandy.
Yeah, like, I'm going to keep you until I trade you in for somebody better, honey. My husband and I, we've been married 40 years, and for a while
good
there,
for you.
Probably the first 25 years of our marriage, every year on our anniversary, we would sit down and we would say, okay, do we still want to be married, honey? We'd go out and have an anniversary dinner. And like after 25, I said, honey, I think at this point, if we were going to make a change, we would already have done it. Let's just say we're ride or die, right? So
yeah, ride or die it is.
I'm not going to jump horses at this point. This is the one I've got.
Yeah. Oh, that's
yeah.
great.
So that
well,
seems like hedging your bet, right?
Too.
It's like, oh, thank you. Yeah. It's like, okay, well, I really want this person, but I don't want to say I want this person. So I like,
yeah, well,
I'll
it's
be
kind of like,
okay, I want this person or somebody better.
Here's an idea of what I'm looking for. So it could be this idea, or there could be a better one that's better for me. So that's kind of the way I've heard it, and I just didn't know if that was a useful technique or not.
We all have our ethics.
Yeah.
And I want to say, I haven't been a perfect person, but whenever I've done a magic that's directed at a specific person, it hasn't worked out for me. And so I kind of think that it's more than just like, oh, this is the way we should treat other people. I think there's something to it that we really don't want to try to force a tie on someone, right? I think that's the magic doesn't like that.
Yeah, and I think you're right that I was just thinking of a friend from so many years ago, and she created one of those boards of photos of everything you want, and those types of things.
Yes.
And then she met this guy, and she was like, "That's it," and they, she put her intent out for him specifically. They got married, but they also got divorced, and. Yeah.
Yeah.
So exactly what you're saying. It doesn't always work out like that when you want somebody specifically, and you're right. Magic doesn't necessarily support that long term. Short term maybe, right? But that's it.
Yeah. And it's something I think about love and relationships too. Some relationships are for a long time, like my relationship with my husband, but I was married and divorced in my youth. So that relationship didn't last, but it was nonetheless successful because you have to decide what your value for success is. That relationship was successful because we supported each other, we were good to each other during the course of the relationship, and then when we parted, it was clear that I was growing up. I was so young, and he was growing in a different direction. So we parted amicably, and that's a definition of success. You don't, because we have this idea in this culture, oh, you have failed, your marriage has failed. It hasn't failed. It did exactly what it was supposed to do, and you're now both moving into another direction, right? So I'm a huge proponent of that. It can be very positive. Ending a relationship can be a really positive thing for both of you. And I try. I'm not always successful at ending relationships amicably, but it's a goal.
Yeah, you're right, and sometimes they do come to an end, and they're supposed to come to an end, whether it's through death or divorce or something else. But yeah, so your points are well taken, definitely. And what about using cord magic for paranormal reasons, spiritual reasons? Talk to us about that.
I mean, cords make magic tangible. I mean, that's one of the sort of theme about all of the things that we've been talking about. You've got something that you can't make physical. Cords let you make that physical, and there's nothing less tangible, right, than your relationship with the spiritual. So they're real concrete things. I have deities that I have relationships with, and I make cords for them, for each one of them, as my relationship with that deity. So I can wear that cord while I am invoking the deity. I can take the cord. I can wear it out in the world when I want to do the work of that deity. A really good example is Hera, who is a goddess who blesses marriages. So when I officiate a wedding, I wear a cord that's dedicated to Hera, and it's got a little pendant that's got her head on it. So that's a really good way to kind of make that a spiritual thing. And then just in general, like, you want something in your life. You want something spiritual in your life. So again, that's an attracting thing. What do you want to have happen? I want a experience with a group that brings me forward in my path. I would like to connect with an entity or a deity that brings me forward in my life, that will protect me, or that will help guide me in the next steps that I need to take. So all of those things are intentions that you can put into a cord.
Yeah, I think that right now there's a lot of people obviously more interested than ever in the paranormal, UFOs, ghosts, etc. So you can use cord magic for that, but again, you want to keep it more general, not specific. But even for example, somebody just wrote in, can I use this to communicate with extraterrestrials? Call in the UFO. You know, there's a big thing right now with several groups out there that are doing that. So can cord magic help that?
I don't see why not. And so you know, what is the result that you want? You're wanting a contact. So there's an analogous thing in the ceremonial world. I haven't done it with extraterrestrials, but I've done it with archangels and demons. They're similar entities in that you're working with an entity that can't physically manifest in front of you and talk to you, right? So how do you want that manifestation to happen? And one of the great things to do is to say, you know, in a dream, bring to me in a dream a contact with this entity. And that's kind of where I've gone. But you might do meditation. So you sit and meditate. You want to have a contact with the entity. Then hold the cord and see if you can make a contact with the entity. Make a result, you know, record the results, make a journal entry so you know what you did, what the experiment was, and how it worked out. But that would be one way to do it. So when you said contact, that was kind of where I went. What does contact mean? What does success mean in the contact? And and every once in a while, when I'm doing something like that, I'm like, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Once in a while, you're doing these things, and what happens?
And I say, give me a tangible result. Like, okay, if you're really real, then make something happen.
And show up.
Make a particular. Yeah, show up, right? So I want a ring. Bring me a ring, right? And so somebody gives you a ring, or you find a ring on the sidewalk, and you're like, okay, that worked. So, but I try really hard not to head in that direction. You can set yourself up for failure there, and it's kind of demanding, like. I don't want it, you know, make me, you know. So I don't do that too often. So for the what's contact mean to you, and it's probably more successful to say I'm going to meditate and have a sense of contact with that entity, whatever you conceptualize it.
Yeah, because I know, for example, Dr. Stephen Greer's work. He has an app now where you can play these tones. He calls them crop circle tones. I don't know where they come from. They're pretty wild sounding. I kind of like them. But then you do this brief meditation, and then you watch the sky. And a lot of people have had great results with that. But I was thinking, wow, I bet you could really amp it up with some cord magic. So, yeah, because they are spotting lights in the sky. And some of them are getting amazing photos and videos and things like that. So you could... Wow. Use this.
I want to say I saw a UFO when I was a kid. An entire neighborhood of people stood on a hillside watching this UFO, and you know, on the news the next day we heard, oh yes, it was, you know, a weather balloon. It was totally not. So I'm absolutely on the side of yes, there are things out there, and we don't have a big enough worldview to be able to encompass them. But they are there.
No, they really are. And the government has been lying to us about it for over 70 years. They've just kept everything from us that they possibly could. So having these groups like Dr. Greer's group out there doing this kind of thing, I think it's great, because I'm sure it drives the government nuts that people are trying to do this and are succeeding on their own. But his isn't the only group. There's many others. So, but yeah, I mean, we don't need an intermediary that lies to us. So I always tell everybody, you know, just go find the group that you feel most comfortable with. But now they can do cord magic with it. So
I was just thinking, if I was going to do a cord for contacting extraterrestrials, I would go to one of the metallic cords myself. Get one of those really sparkly ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some really, really pretty ones. Because the image that the UFO that I saw was very metallic. I would make, I could today make that cord to connect to that particular thing that I saw, because it had color, right, and number. Ooh, that was a good idea. Thank you. That was really fun.
So what number would you put with that? Would you put a 9, or what would you do?
There were windows, and and it was clear that it was rotating because there was a gap in one of the windows. So I'll have to go look at the memory and see if I counted it at some point. But yeah, that would be the number that I would use, the number of windows that we saw.
And when you saw the windows on this UFO, did you see anybody inside?
No, it was too far away. And it's a story that I don't tell really often because there are a lot of people who are like, "Wow, right." But I want to tell you, my parents and everyone in the neighborhood, it wasn't like a couple of us going, "Oh, look at that thing in the sky." It was like, "You guys, look at that thing. No, seriously, look at that thing." And it's like, there is nothing else it can be than this thing, right?
Yes.
So I work in a lot in the metaphysical world. I went immediately to the, archangels and demons because that's the way that the people I usually work with talk. And they're not so much into the, into that side, into the, that side of the paranormal, right? But no, it's true. It is out there.
Well, and what do you do? Now, you mentioned archangels. What do you do to connect with archangels? Because that's a very different energy.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I am a witch and also a ceremonial magician, right? So we have now there's where you get the elaborate rituals, and there are really set correspondences. So I know people who make cords that are to pull the energy of a Kabbalistic sphere, and they make these really beautiful, very, very elaborate cords with and again, it's all about number and color, and then they will do an indication. They will use the appropriate and do a whole ritual to consecrate that, and then wear the cord to bring the energy of that sphere to them. And each of the spheres has an archangel associated, so they might invoke the archangel in creating the cord, and then wear the cord while they're invoking the archangel. So that's basically it.
Wow.
It's a So it's something that there were a bunch of levels to that. Invoking the archangel as you create the cord, and then using the cord to invoke the archangel again. So again, it makes that kind of connection.
Now, when you do that kind of work, what is your experience with the archangels?
Oh, they are big. They're just really big, right? They're very large presences, but very very friendly, right? So there are a lot of entities out there in the world. Some of them are friendly to people, and some of them are not. It's really helpful to know which ones are and which ones aren't. Archangels are guaranteed to be positive energies. They're not punishing. They're not mischievous. Yeah. You need one of those in your life because there are energies that are punishing and mischievous and maybe I don't want to trust that entity. But yeah, archangels, when you invoke them, you get what they are.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
They're solid.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Demons are a whole other thing, right? So I don't do a lot of demon work. And
what do you do with
a really long
them?
Conversation.
Well, we have a little bit of time left here, so.
Because there's a story arc about the way we've thought about demons in Western culture. In Christian sort of mysticism, demons are evil and they are to be banished. Ceremonial magicians got into this thing where they would invoke demons as servants to get them to do stuff. And these days what the best ceremonial magicians do is to invoke demons, understanding that they are a level of being that's not as advanced, even as humans or as archangels, and they're part of the spectrum, right? So we're sort of in the middle. We invoke an archangel to bring a really big spiritual positive energy into our lives, and then we bring that back down to demons. So the demon is just like the little subconscious thing that's running around in your mind, making the machinery of the universe go. So you bring your influx of positive energy down to the demon, and you, as you make this relationship with this demon, that's your intent. Your intent is that they work with you and help you, but also you are patterning them to move in a positive direction and to evolve as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know Lon Duquette talked a lot about that, and
it
was fascinating. Yeah. You know
Oh,
Lon.
you've had Lon? Oh, gosh.
Oh yeah. He's a riot.
You don't want to follow him.
Laugh.
You do not. I was Lon is a friend, and we would both go to these big conferences. And once I was placed against him, I'm like, oh no, nobody's going to come to my talk, But he's wonderful. He's funny. He's really funny and very smart.
Is hilarious.
He's funny. He's smart. He's wise. Yeah. He's a good guy.
And
so he really he's really like pioneered this idea, right? I kind of described his way of looking at demons. He's really kind of pioneered this idea, and I think it's reforming ceremonial magic. You don't want to be the kind of person or magician that walks through the world going, I will impose my will on the universe. You demon, you serve me. It's really nice to have another way of looking at it. To say, no, I'm entering into a partnership. I know that I'm the person who's doing the guiding, with my cat. I don't expect that my cat is, maybe I should say it like that. I don't expect that my cat is running the relationship. I'm going to be setting some parameters, like, Kitty, you don't get to go outside. Yes, we are going to go to the vet. No, you're not going to eat every single thing that you want. You become a blob, But within those parameters, the cat runs around the house wherever she wants to go, and I make sure that she's got places where she can go. So that makes her happy. So it's a partnership, and I know that I'm the senior person in the partnership. And that's exactly the frame that Lon has put on this kind of magic, and it's an incredibly necessary reform, I think.
I think so, and because I know he talked about it's your responsibility to bring these demons into the light, and I thought, what a fascinating way of looking at that energy. Rather than just keeping a focus on the light, the archangels, all of that, we're also responsible for the darkness. And that realm, that's something we need to be responsible to as well. So, very interesting stuff. And I think that's very brave of you that you do that.
Oh, well, I don't do that much work with him, I must say. But and so courts can, again, work in that environment too. So you might pick up one of the books that lists demons, pick one and say, all right, this is the one that I want to work with, and then make a chord for that relationship. You could also make a chord for a general relationship. Here, this is a chord for me to work with the negative parts of my personality, or to work with my subconscious demons, right? And here's what I want from that relationship. I want to help myself evolve. I want to help the demons evolve, and I want to bring all of this in the framework of positive spiritual development for us both. But I also want to remain in charge of this relationship, so that it's in my I'm doing the directing. I'm not turning over the energy of my life to the demons to run rampant. We've seen that happen in people's lives, right? But this is what I want to do. So then it's kind of interesting, because the demonology books the demons have numbers, so you can go work with the number of the demon, or you might choose your colors. Like we think of demons as dark, so you might have a purple or a dark green to represent the demonic energy, and then a yellow to represent light, that you're trying to move the demon in that particular direction, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's just so interesting. Yeah. Well, we are responsible for all of this. We're responsible for the shadow and the light. So it does make sense, although it sounds daunting, to take that on. So that's why I'm saying I really give you credit, because that's a big job.
Yeah.
It really is. So tell us more. What else can you use cord magic for? I get that you can do it for anything, but what are people using it for, aside from what we've already talked about?
It's so interesting. When I bring cord magic to people who don't know it, there's a gathering of friends, and I go, hey, I just wrote this book on cord magic. Have I shown you all how to make cords? And there's always somebody who I haven't shown. So Llewellyn sends us these boxes, right? Like, okay, here, have one of the books. I brought some yarn with me, and everybody's got instantly something they want to do. It's the thing that they're working on right now. Oh man, I really need to get into school. Okay, well, let's make a cord for that. And they'll tend to make one cord and use it, wear it until they get the thing that they want, and then move on, right? That's something that I found very, very interesting. Now, I'm a type A, right? So when I started doing cord magic, I would do I'd make cords and I would wear them on every single body part, right? I'd walk into a pagan event and I've got cords hanging off my wrists and my arms and my legs and my ankles, one's around my neck and around my waist, right? So I really overdo everything. So it's kind of fun. But I'll run into, I run into this person again a month later and they're still wearing that cord around their wrist. So that's that's really fun. And it's usually something like that. It's like the thing that's the most important thing right now. Yeah, no, I really need a job. I need to get into this school. I'm thinking about moving. I need a place to go. So there's always one top of mind that I've found generally that people just have something they're working on.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. Now, when you do cord magic in a group or in a coven, does it increase its power?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the more people you have putting energy into the cord, the better. I generally make cords myself, but it's really fun to make it with another person and help them. So you're putting your intention into it, too. You're putting your energy into that cord that person gets what they want, which is really fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's harder to do in a group, but we have done it. And it's really, mostly when the coven does a cord, it's because we're making an initiation cord. So we're making a really long cord for somebody to bring them into the craft or to elevate them from one degree to another. And so it takes a lot of people to do, but that's also so lovely to get a chance to do it as a group and then to sort of give that to that person. It's a connection. It helps them move forward in their magic. But it's complicated. You get 5 people on a cord, and you really have to think through how you're going to do this, for sure.
Yeah. Now, it's been said that once you do something like this, you don't tell people this is what the cord is for. It's not really for other people to know. Is that true?
I think so. I mean, in general, I don't tell people what I'm doing my magic for at all. It's one of the things to know, to dare, to will, to keep silent. The silence helps to protect the intent. I've seen so many people just blow the energy of anything by announcing to people, right? So I'm going to write a book. Did you write the book? No. Write the book and then say, I have written that book. It's a much more successful strategy. But you can say, yeah, I made this cord for protection. It's not, it's not going to ruin the energy of the cord to say that. And I think it's important to do because it shows people that there's a cord and that you're doing it, you're using the magic and you can use this magic for protection. But I might not say, I'm using this cord to protect me from this person who's really got it in for me. That would be the detail that I would leave out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I've heard that if you tell people your intention, it just, if they're jealous or judgmental, it can interfere.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you
even
don't
your
want
friends,
to give them
right,
that opportunity. Yeah.
Your friends can inadvertently ill wish you, right? Like, oh, I'm going to retire in a year. Yeah, but what if? Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly. What if you need the job and you can't find another job, or what if you need the job and you don't have the money saved that you need to? You just ill wished me. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't announce.
Yeah, thanks for the negativity. Yeah, so it's a good way to just keep it a secret between you. And yeah. Now, in your practice, do people ever ask you, would you make me a magical cord to do XYZ?
Generally not. People do ask for things. It's something that my coven does. We've been meeting for, I won't remember. I'm going to say 86, so somebody can do the math. We formed in 86. So people ask us for things all the time, and we meet every Sabbath, and when we're doing the cone of power and making wishes, we'll just stop and say, okay, this person wanted this person wanted this. Mary's going in for surgery this week. Oh no. Okay, we'll work for a successful conclusion to her surgery. And John needs a job. And you can tell what's going on in society because you'll get a whole stack of the same requests. Like everybody wants a job, like right now, because there was tremendous flutter in the economy, right? So and right now, so there's so many health things. I mean, health is like been top of mind since at least the pandemic. People have brought us, and people of all ages. It's not just, because all of our friends are our age. People of all ages have just these same issues, right? So, my favorite was my coven mate who said, "Let my child make wise choices." Like, that's a good wish. Let her make wise choices. Yes, yeah. So I don't necessarily do chords for them, or I don't get requests for chords, but we do all the time get requests from people. Help me with would your coven help with this thing?
Okay.
Which is how I can have this long, the Chord Magic has like an extensive list of things that people need, and it's because of however many years of having these requests come in, you start seeing patterns.
Yeah. Now, what about, here's one, solving crimes? There's a lot of crime going on, and people are getting murdered and kidnapped, dragged off. What about using Chord Magic for that?
The ones that really break my heart are when children go missing and you don't know what happened. That is just painful. So that would be something, again, you can make an intent that the person can, the people who are involved in the case get closure, whatever that is, right? When there's an urgent, like somebody's been kidnapped, you could certainly make a chord just for their safe return. But when you've got those kind of long-standing things, you can like make a chord for a resolution that brings peace to everybody who's involved. For in general, I don't try to make these are all very specific things that we're talking about with Chord Magic. I don't generally make societal wishes with chords. We do as a coven. We'll make wishes for people to be safe, for people to be healthy. My particular one, when we're raising Cone of Power in the coven, the one that I'm always working for is let the weather fall into a pattern. It's not even like let global warming not happen, because that's kind of a, as you said, in some places it's not warming, it's actually cooling. What's happening is chaos. And what you really need is order. You need a pattern. So the specific weather magic that I do is let the weather fall into a pattern. But so that's how I handle these big questions. But for little ones, the specific, and the story about Kathy who wandered off and her mom didn't know where she was. That's a really good example, right? Let's bring them home safely. The Bring Them Home Safely spell, the Protect Children. I've got a lot of Protect Children spells that. It's just like a thing. So I have deities that I invoke and chants that I do, and the chord helps to have a place to put all that energy.
That's wonderful. Are you ever called upon to help bring home a missing child other than your friends? I mean, do the police or anybody, detectives ever contact you about this? They should.
No, the sort of thing. Oh, that's lovely. I do. I mean, I will look at a missing person. Sometimes I just know, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm sure other people you've interviewed have said this. You just know. You look at a person's picture and you go, oh, yeah, no, they're not going to find them. Or, yes, that person's coming home. But I'll also put that into an intention. I won't necessarily use a chord for it, but I'll put that into an intention. Every Amber Alert that goes out, I go, oh, may you go home safely. Every fire engine that passes as the fire engine is going by, I go, oh, let the fire be put out and let everybody come through safely. So I just always kind of put those little positive affirmations out there in the world. Sometimes you need it so fast.
That's wonderful.
You don't even have time to make a chord. You just like do it.
Yeah.
Just
got to put the intention out there. Yeah. No, especially with the kids. Because I'm hearing more and more about it, about how many kids go missing and are never seen again, or trafficked, or whatever.
So it's so sad. I know a person who had that happen,
sad.
Right? I mean, she lost her 5-year-old daughter, and I don't know, 40 years later. Yeah, 40 years later, there has never been a resolution to this, right? So it is really hard. I can't imagine a harder thing, honestly. Really, truly. So,
I can't either.
Yeah. So that's a good thing too. Yeah.
Gosh. Oh, how terrible. Yeah. So doing cord magic right away to help somebody, that would be wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gosh.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put the affirmation in the world that let everybody be safe.
Yeah.
It's something that I do a lot. I talk to people a lot in email or text or whatever, and I will just say, may you remain safe and well. It's a wonderful affirmation to give people.
That really is. Now, I again want to announce the name of your book, which is so wonderful, Cord Magic, Tapping into the Power of String, Yarn, Twists, and Knots by our guest tonight, Brandy Williams. Just been wonderful talking about all this. What's next for you? Because you are a writer. You have other books out, too.
I have 5 books, and 2 of them went out of print. I have made a press, Mnemosyne Press, that's M-N, Mnemosyne Press, and I'm reprinting my books. So my current project is working on The Woman Magician, and I'm keynote for the Sisterhood of Avalon Women in Magic Conference on October 1st. It's a virtual conference. So that's my goal. I have the book available for print or ebook by October 1st. So that's my current project. And then I'm always writing.
I guess so.
I want to do a book. I want to do a goddess energy book next. I haven't done that for a while, and I'd like to talk about the way I work with goddesses, the way I do sitting practice with goddesses. That's what I want to work on next.
That would be great. Now, what color yarns, threads, etc. do you recommend for work with goddesses?
Oh, it depends on the goddess, right? And the great thing is that goddesses, historical goddesses, will have you have pictures, or you have images, you have ideas from antiquity. Right now, I'm doing tantric studies, so there are a ton of tantric goddesses, and you've got pictures, and they come in colors. They have
that makes it
specific
easy.
colors, right? This one's red, this one's yellow, this one's blue, this one is blue black. Yeah, so it makes it easy. Yeah. And they have this great thing, malas. They have beads that you can use to contact them. So, yeah, that's pretty easy. But yeah, any goddess you can study them. It's one of the things you can do to get in contact with the deity. You study them. You study them historically, and then it gives you the ideas.
Oh my goodness! That you do have to do a book about that. That sounds so fascinating. Definitely.
I will.
Well, hurry up and write
I will. I was working on Isis.
We're
today.
waiting.
I was revisiting Isis. Isis, great of magic. Isis is the goddess of magic. So.
Well, I think that's a good place to start. Now, what color cord do we have for Isis?
Well, I'm wearing yellow actually. I have, because she's got such solar energy. I would use yellow and red for Isis. But I'm going to have to go back and look. I know Hathor, I've done a lot of work with Hathor, and she's definitely associated with red. So I wear a red scarf for Hathor. And it makes sense, right? I mean, love, sensuality, energy,
Yes.
That's
oh my
the
goodness.
colors I use for them. Yep.
That's great. Oh, somebody just texted in, what color cord should I use to help me open my third eye?
Well, you could look at the color associated with the Anya chakra in the general Hindu tantric systems, or you could tune into your third eye. What is the color that you see there? What's the color that you associate with it? And just in general, if you need just a starter, I would look in the purple spectrum. I would expect that it would be somewhere in there. But whatever you see is what is appropriate for you. That's very important. If it works for you, works for you.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, my goodness. Well, I'm just enjoying this conversation so much. I don't want it to end, but unfortunately we'll have to end, Brandy. So I'm looking forward to hearing back from you on your further adventures and your goddess book. Got to have you back on the show. So thank you so much for being with us tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Definitely. And next week, everybody, we'll be back with another great show. And until then, we'll see you on the Blue Highway. Good night, everyone.
Thanks for listening. Tune in next week for another radio adventure with Supernatural Girls.